Hello, welcome back to the third part of my answer to Dr. Von Schiller on the declining sales of the market in the early 70s and the rising price of the cover price throughout the 70s that lead to the direct sales market. Now that I went through everything that lead to the change into the direct sales market, no doubt it was a must for both, the big boys as well as a smaller publisher. But Marvel and DC had no choice but changing their business model for direct sales. From what I understand, the previous business model was giving smaller discount. From what I heard, it was pretty small. By the time the book got to the newsstand, the discount was something like 20%. So basically, if you have a comic book that was 25 cents cover price, the newsstand had to pay 20 cents for that book, and the margin is 5 cents profit. Okay. As far as the 20 cents, that 20 cents are split between, of course, the people that print the books, the distributors. So by the time they get to Marvel, it's like maybe 10 cents. But the switch to direct sales is not a boom to Marvel and DC in that, all of a sudden, instead of like printing 400,000 copy and only selling 100,000 copy, now the direct sales market, I shift the risk toward the buyer, which is the distributors and the local comic book store. So in order to shift the risk to them, Marvel had to give a bigger discount. From everything that I read, the discount went up significantly. So the local comic book store, I believe, was getting a lot more than 20% discount. I do not believe it is a 50% discount. But if I can find out more information on what was the split between Marvel, the distributors, and the LCS, I will update. But for now, all I know was, in order to get people to buy into the direct sales, Marvel and DC had to give a much bigger discount in order to get people to buy and cannot return. So it's a win-win in that Marvel was able to lock in on how much they can sell. There's more certainty, but at the same time, it's not like their revenue jumped 2 or 3 times because of that model. It's basically a model that allow them to hit a certain target that keep them alive. Okay, it's not a boom after the near death. And what I found interesting was, I was always under the impression that the direct sales happen a lot sooner, especially with the books with the barcode. But from my research up until this video, I learned something new. So, I'm surprised that I did not notice it, but at least now I know for sure what's going on. As we know, most Browns books in the early 70s did not have the barcode. Okay, so you have a lot of books that did not have the barcode, and even through the middle part of the 70s, where there were comic book store buying from wholesalers or distributors or whoever it is, there was really no distinction between what's a newsstand copy and what's the direct sales copy. Okay, so here is a typical Bronx Books. As you can see, there's no barcode here whatsoever. And here's what I learned. The first time the barcode appeared was March of 1976. Okay, so if you look for DC or Marvel books that have the June, this is May of 1976, but that means that this was on the stand in February of 1976. Okay, so by the time March of 1976 come around and issue 36 came out with the June date here, that's the first time you see the barcode. Okay, so issue 36, here you go. So now, so if you want to research, or if you want to know when the barcode first showing up, right there, March of 1976. And here's what's interesting. So up until that point, going forward, okay, for quite a few years, every book have this barcode. So I'm not sure how useful or what's the need, the reason for this barcode, because it doesn't matter where you buy your books. Could be on a newsstand, could be at the 7-Eleven, drugstore, comic book stores, newsstand, you name it, they all had the barcode. Okay, so I was under the impression that the market had some kind of differentiation with this, but nope, this barcode existed widespread for every issue, both Marvel, DC, and other publisher in March of 1976, and this go on for quite some time. Okay, and let me give you an example. So this go on until early 1979. So here you have, for example, a Micronauts. Micronauts 5 May. The date is May of 1979. That means that this book was on the stand March of 1979. Okay, so here you go. It's still this. Okay, so for all the collectors that focus on newsstand, I think it's a big mistake to think that this is anything special up until March of 1979, because every copy have this. There is no difference between newsstand or direct sales, okay? Because the direct sales market has not fully implemented yet, okay? Not until 79. So this is March of 1979. Okay, so take a look at this. April of 1979. Issue 6. Here you go. You can see the barcode cross out. So this is the beginning of what I think is a differentiation between what was direct sales and what was newsstand. So here you go. I can't say which is more rare in the beginning of the direct sales movement, but if you see a book between April of 1979 through October of 1979, this is what you get. This is what would be in your local comic book store, the place that they can buy and cannot return. Here you go. Okay, right there. And then the first book that have the Spider-Man is the book that came out in November of 1979. So November of 1979 is the first time you see the Spider-Man. Okay, now books come out on a weekly basis. So if you look at books that came out in November of 1979, for sure some of them still have the barcode with the line cross out, and some have the Spider-Man. So my hunch telling me that the books that was printed earlier in the month of November didn't have the Spider-Man yet, and by the end of November 1979 you have this, and then going forward, the direct sales market system is fully implemented, okay? And that's what you get, the Spider-Man. So I learned something new for sure from doing this project, because I thought for sure, for the longest time, I thought this appeared a lot sooner than November of 1979. So, you know, if you were focusing on newsstand, I know there's a few collectors out there that just focus on newsstand because they think it's rarer, harder to find in high grades. In many ways, that's true, but only really true if you focus from 1979 going forward, because prior to March of 1979, there is no differentiation between newsstand or direct sales. And that's it. That concludes the three-part answer to Dr. Von Schiller questions. And thank again my friend for the question, because in order to answer, I had to do some research and I learned something new, and that's part of the fun of this hobby for me, is the research part. Thanks for watching. Until next time.